Hi and welcome to another No Treble column. Today I wanted to talk about looking at a pretty well-known jazz funk standard, which is a great iconic bass line, Chameleon by Herbie Hancock. And there's been plenty of different versions of this out there, and it's a fun one to play. Now the typical bass part, which probably a lot of you know, sounds like this. I've got an envelope and an octave filter on here too, just to add a little extra spice to the sound, but the basic line. Probably know. It's cool, it's just a 2-chord vamp, really B flat to E flat 7 at that part. Now, it's a great line in itself, but it's fun to come up with some variations on this. Also, different tempos can give you different, suggest different feels to you as well. So one of the variations that I've got for you here, which you can check out a little faster, still outlining the same changes, but I start incrementally adding different variations. The first one is this. And so on. Now this is kind of fun because it's got a little more movement to it. I still follow the contour of the main line, the ascending line that walks between the B flat minor and the E flat 7. I still adhere to, but I use a deadened open string in between the fretted notes here. I think it gives it a little more kind of movement and bounce. And again, if we were taking the tempo up a little brighter, this line really works nicely. The little fill at the end of that second bar. This one, very simple pentatonic. Again, just B flat, D flat, E flat. And that's it. Very simple. I'm keeping really to either, you could think of this whole thing almost as being derived from B flat minor pentatonic in a way, even though it's really moving between 2 chords. It's very simple vocabulary I'm using here. So that's one basic line. The second variation is this. So instead of using the ascending from the original line, now I use something completely different where I use a descending 3-note line. It's just 3 notes moving down chromatically from the E flat, which is the root of that E flat chord on the second bar, going down to the major 7 through to the flat 7. Or just think of it as just chromatically passing from the E flat to the D flat to the flat 7. And I also do a slide down. These are also with a different sonic texture. With the envelope too, it gives me a nice kind of decay and that kind of quack to the sound. So again, we've got 2 different flavors there. The first line, a little closer to the original line, and a little different, and there's also more space at the end of that line. So we could also combine them together. And now you've got a longer phrase. It becomes a 4-bar phrase rather than a 2-bar phrase. So here's the 3rd and 4th examples for you. And these are also variations on that chameleon idea, but a little busier in the 3rd example, this one here. And this one is kind of cool. I'm using B flat minor pentatonic as the basic DNA for this line, but I'm starting on the 5th, on the F, and you can see this on the downloadable PDF too. Example 3, so I'm starting up F, A flat, B flat to D flat. Just that very simple line. And then I do that same descending line, E flat through D to D flat, again, to cover the E flat 7 chords. It's like this, 1, 2, 3, and that's the line. So again, we've got that descending slide idea I kept over from the last one, but now I've got a busier line, a little higher register, and starting on the 5th of the B flat chord, just using the DNA from B flat minor pentatonic and then up to this chromatic descending line on the E flat 7 chord. So I'll play it a couple more times for you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and Notice too I'm doing that slide, and sometimes I add a little note to lead in. Now the dead notes are really important too. On the last 3/16 of beat 4, we have that. can vary those how you want, but I like that. It gives it that little momentum as well. Notice again I have the envelope filter on. If I take the envelope off, different sound, different vibe a little bit. I don't know, it's okay. I like it more with the envelope on. So, and so on. Now, let's move on to the next one. It's example 4. This is a simpler line at the beginning of the phrase, so a different kind of weight to where the notes lie. So I decided I'd reduce the amount of notes in the first half of the line. We have a little busier fill at the end of the E flat 7 on beat 4 of bar 2, which is this, where I'm basically going, you can hammer this on, or you can articulate it, pluck every note. So the whole line is like this: 1, 2, 3, and. And so on. So it's just that little fill at the end of the E flat 7. So again, if you wanted to break something down, maybe a new solo was starting on, over this line, so you might want to reduce what you're playing, because this one is busy, but it's a little sparser, and that can kind of percolate under a soloist. And then when we graduate to, it's much nicer. So now I'll put the two together, and I'll play the last example 4 first. So we're going 1, 2, 3, and. And then. Kind of cool. So that would build into that, and all of that has come from the inspiration from the original line of, and so on. And now we've got the, there you go. Have fun with those. See you on the next one.